This is a very particular idea that I wanted to dive into here. Because when it comes to the Edmonton Oilers and the Florida Panthers suiting up in the Stanley Cup Final, the series has been great. Lots of extra hockey, lots of exciting moments, lots of big goals and big plays, lots of star power too. Not to mention the fact that the physicality has been there, maybe not to the most extreme capacity, but it has been there in a way. And you also have the fact that some of the battling going on has been fierce. This Oilers and Panthers series has been nothing short of pure, unrivaled hockey entertainment. But there was a post made on Twitter by Harman Dale which garnered some discussion that I wanted to dive into here, because it relates to the Vancouver Canucks, and it questions where their role is in all of this. Watching hockey of this speed, skill, and physicality is a constant reminder of how far away the Canucks are from being a true elite contender. That is a comment that I think a lot of fans in Vancouver would particularly agree with. Hey, the Panthers and the Oilers are fast, they're really skilled, they're being physical. The Canucks didn't really do much of any of that throughout the course of this previous year. Not really all too fast. They played this dump and chase style of hockey. It didn't really allow many players' skill to show. And the physicality, I mean, look, Quinn Hughes is the best player on the team. He's not physical. He doesn't need to be, but he's not. Elias Pettersson. Physical? I don't know. Anytime he bumps into a guy, he ends up falling down like Bambi. JT Miller was physical, but he's not there anymore. Same thing you can say with Nikita Zadorov. Vinny Desharnais. Big guy, supposed to be physical, he really wasn't. Kiefer Sherwood, Dakota Joshua. Okay, these guys are physical. I'll give you that. Sherwood set the record for most hits in a season by a player in the modern era. He was fantastic. Definitely a physical player. DPD, yeah, he's physical. But then again, you think about it, it's like, all right, well, that's 3 guys. You want to add in Garland? Is that a 4th guy? Höglander can be there too. The top guys on Vancouver are not really all too physical. And with the Oilers and Panthers displaying speed and skill throughout the rest of their lineup, it really puts into question where Vancouver is there. I know the Canucks have some fast guys. Sherwood, he's pretty fast. O'Connor, fast too. But ultimately, Harman's point here on Twitter is that the Canucks are a far cry from being able to tango with the Oilers and the Panthers in the ways that they are tangoing with each other right now. The top reply from Knuckhead, y'all might know him. He's a very good hockey YouTuber. He does some great work. The Canucks almost eliminated the Oilers last year. And that garnered a bunch of response too. Hey, why are you saying the Canucks are not able to tango with these guys when they were so close to beating Edmonton? But then Harman replied, yeah, and none of their top 3 point getters from that playoff run, Miller, Lindholm, and Besser, are still under contract with the team. 10 of the 18 skaters that played at least 10 playoff games in that run are either gone or unlikely to be re-signed. Besser and Suter. And that's a very understandable point. A lot of the Canucks' top guys and the players that were in that playoff run, a good chunk of them are not in Vancouver anymore. And look, it's likely that Besser's going to leave. Suter, we have no idea, but we'll assume that he ends up leaving too. Doesn't look all too great if you want to take that team from last year and project it into the future because most of the players are gone. There is an ensuing argument that goes out there and debates whether or not the Canucks and the Panthers can be compared because the Panthers had a whole bunch of guys rotating around on their team as well. Let's just scroll through some of these replies over here. Knuckhead says 9 of the 19 skaters that played at least 10 games for the Panthers during their playoff run last year are not on the current team. Harman replies, every single one of Florida's top 8 scorers from that run are still on the team. Meanwhile, only 4 of the Canucks' top 10-point scorers from their run are still under contract. That's excluding some pretty important players, Höglander, Hronek, and Myers. They will improve, it will be okay. Then a reply from Canucks Singh says, we are nowhere good as either of these teams. Don't lie to yourself. I'm not saying we can't turn it around. We need lots of work. And so, optimists and pessimists collide here when it comes to talking about the Canucks. Oh, if you want to say it's not pessimism, it's realism. Okay, well, that's fine. The Canucks were outside the playoffs. They didn't have a good run this previous season, so I think it's fair to say that a conversation about them not being in the same class as a Stanley Cup finalist or a Stanley Cup champion, I think that's valid. It's just I wanted to bring up that same point that we had discussed a few days ago. How Leon Draisaitl straight up said that the Vancouver Canucks series against Edmonton in 2024 was an extremely emotional and hard-fought series that Vancouver almost pushed them to bigger heights compared to some of the other teams that they had played off against in the playoffs the past 2 years. Vancouver is the only team other than Florida to have taken the Oilers to 7 games in the past 2 years. And that is saying something. It doesn't necessarily mean that Vancouver is in that same boat, especially nowadays, but there was an impact that I think we should be able to remember and latch onto as Vancouver Canucks fans, remembering where this team was just 1 year ago. Is it unfortunate that now the Vancouver Canucks are in a much more volatile spot? We don't know how well these guys are going to translate, and we don't know much about the personnel that's going to be leading the charge on this team. Yeah, that's definitely scary. We don't know who is going to be the Canucks' second-line center. We don't know whom it is the Canucks are going to trade away to try to get that center in the first place. There are so many questions, and definitely the team is far removed from the caliber of status they had when JT Miller, Lindholm, Zadorov, and everybody else was on it. It's kind of interesting because the Canucks do have a better D-core, I'd say, than that season. They need a little bit more leadership, but they are lacking forward support compared to back then. Back then, Connor Garland, Joshua, they were getting points in the playoffs, big goals, Brock Besser was getting hat tricks and multiple goals, and Miller was scoring. It was just Elias Pettersson that wasn't pulling his weight. And the question is he going to be able to do that next season too? We don't even know if that's guaranteed. So, the Vancouver Canucks are at a pretty difficult spot, and watching this Oilers and Panthers series is definitely making things feel a lot more desperate for the way Vancouver hockey is shaping up. But ultimately, we can't really do anything except sit here, wait, and talk about it, because I don't know if you noticed, but the offseason, it's in full flight here for a lot of these teams. And for the Vancouver Canucks in particular, I wanted to just give a little bit of a spotlight to this idea, debating whether or not the Canucks can even be classified as a team worthy of being brought up in the same kinds of discussions. It doesn't seem like it based off of how they had finished the season this most previously completed year, but at the end of the day, they were one of the more dangerous and emotionally fueled opponents that the Oilers had in their playoff run last year, and I do think that accounts for something. So with all that in mind, I'll ask you, do you think it's fair to talk about the Vancouver Canucks as being a team that is capable of playing to the same level that Florida and Edmonton are right now? Do you agree more so with Harmon's assessment that, hey, the Canucks are so far away? Or do you agree more with the idea that the Canucks actually do have what it takes, and they had shown that off in prior years? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.